Hello, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing a little vlog sort of thing and a review because I'm going to the cinema to see the Man on the Run documentary, the new Paul McCartney documentary that's coming out from Morgan Neville. It's coming out on Prime next Friday, I think it is. It's coming out in the cinema early though, so of course I'm going to go and see it in the cinema. So I'm going to go there now. I'm heading on the train to Hexham, so I'm going to go and get ready and then, well, basically put my jacket on and then go out the door. I'm going with my mother as well, so maybe she'll appear on camera in this vlog if she's not feeling camera shy, but I very much doubt she will make an appearance. Anyway, so I'll do that, and I'll put a timestamp if you just want to know the review bit for later in the video. So yeah, let's get to this train station, let's get to Hexham Cinema. I've been to this cinema before to see the One Hand Clapping film that was, God, that was about 2 years ago now. So yeah, I'm excited for this, so here we go. And I will see you very soon. Well, let's just keep going. Let's see where this video goes, eh, shall we? Let's go. Sorry, I haven't left yet. I just thought I would quickly show you this. I've got this t-shirt on, which is my Wings. I think it was from the 72 European tour. This was merch. There's pictures of Paul at the time wearing this t-shirt, so I thought, I'm going to see a Wings documentary, a McCartney documentary. I should rep the merch properly. Plus, it's one of my favourite McCartney t-shirts. I have this one. I just really like it. Anyway, let's go. Let's go, go, go. So we're here on our way to the station. Mama's decided she's camera shy, so she's over there being quiet. She was a Wings fan at the time, so yeah, showed her age a bit there. Anyway, the reason we're going to Hexham and not the local cinema is the local cinema is not showing it. It only seems to be independent cinemas, and the local cinema's shit anyway. So yeah, we're going for a meal as well, I think. So yeah, we will see you very soon. Anyway, we're going to be on the train in a minute, so see you there, I suppose. And we have made it to Hexham. We survived the train. So we're just going to go for food now and then we're going to the cinema, which is exciting. I keep saying it's exciting. We decided we're going to have a drinking game. Every time that McCartney mentions the Beatles, we're going to have to take a shot of whiskey because it's a Wings film. He shouldn't really need to mention it that much, but I bet he does. Anyway, walking up a steep hill and I'm very unfit. So yeah, probably see you on the other side now after the film. So fingers crossed it's good. See you in a bit. She's decided she wants to appear on camera. Are you looking forward to this?
Yeah. I look like that.
How was that, man?
I'm excited.
Oh, she's excited, you can tell.
I am.
Very excited.
I am.
You're back to her youth, this. Anyway, goodbye.
I was there at the start. I was.
There you go. I wasn't.
Ching ching. Ching ching.
Yeah, you got Linda's book.
I have Linda's pics for 76. Oh, I loved them.
Oh, well.
When they were at the height of their fame, they were amazing.
Hello from the cinema. Are you excited?
Oh, I am.
She's very excited. She wants to be on the camera now.
No, I don't really. But
So we're done. It was really good. I really enjoyed that film. We're just going back to the station now, so I'll do a proper review in a minute when I get back, but really, really good. Really recommend it. If you're going to watch it, if you haven't seen it, go and watch it on Prime. There's a woman in that window looking at me like, what the hell is he doing holding his phone up in the street? So as he nearly falls, I'm going back down that steep hill now. So yeah, really, really good. I really did enjoy that. I was quite surprised. He did mention the Beatles a lot, so my mother is now passed out in the street somewhere, drunk on whiskey, but never mind that. No, she's shouting at me now. Yeah, so it was good. I really enjoyed it, as I keep saying, and I wasn't expecting it to be that good, to be honest. So really, really impressed. Yeah. Did you enjoy that?
I did.
Very
I thought
good.
that was really good.
Really? Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
So,
I'd give that 9 out of 10 actually.
There we go.
Just there was a lot of old folk.
It was very old. I was the youngest there, I would say.
Yeah.
You were nearly the youngest there.
Yeah, I really
Second
was.
youngest in the room.
Yeah, but it was good.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
Anyway, there's her review. You can hear my review in a minute. So
I'll move out the way.
No. I get to say the line. Back to me in the studio.
Over and out.
So we're back. Hope you enjoyed that little vlog bit there. We'll do a proper review of it now because, yeah, if you didn't pick up there, I really enjoyed it. As you heard there, my mother gave it a 9 out of 10. So let's see if I would also give it that higher score. So to start with, the film begins with some modern day footage of Campbelltown, Kintyre and High Park Farm. And this is all fantastic footage because I don't think I've ever actually seen footage of inside the farmhouse itself, and it's definitely modern footage. You can tell from the quality of the picture and the way things look, basically. Speaking of Kintyre and Campbelltown, a little shameless plug here. I did a video back in October 2024 where I went to Campbelltown and Kintyre and I showed off all the Wings and Beatles and McCartney related sites around there. So I will link that video down below, and it'll probably be on the screen up there somewhere too. Genuinely really good video. I'll blow my own trumpet. I'm very proud of it. It's a good one. So if you haven't seen that one, it is the most successful video I've ever done so far. Yeah, I don't know why, it just seems to do really well, that one. So go and watch that if you want. I'd hate to tell you what to do, but it's really good. So yeah, to see all this footage around Campbelltown, it really painted the picture well of it, especially seeing it today. But the documentary itself, it's a great telling of Paul McCartney's life in the 70s. I kept forgetting when I went into this, it's mainly about McCartney's life in the 70s. It's not a Wings-specific documentary. So it starts pretty much from the breakup of the Beatles. I think that is literally where it starts, actually, by saying that the Beatles were split up. And that, yeah, it is. It starts with a panoramic shot of Campbelltown over the harbour, and it's where it says John Lennon's left the Beatles. So that's where it begins. And it goes as far as when Denny left during a tug-of-war session, so that's April 1981. So that period of his life, and it's pretty well covered. Now, obviously, this is definitely aimed more at the casual fans, and if you go into this as a hardcore fan, which is what I would say I am, and you probably are watching this, you're not going to learn anything new in terms of the story, but, and I'm not just saying this because I want to pull favours with NPL if they happen to see this, I genuinely mean this. If you're a hardcore fan, I genuinely think you will enjoy this. If you're a hardcore fan, you were probably there last night watching it anyway. There is a lot of stuff in here that is new to us that I'd never seen before. I'll come on to all that in a minute. But the documentary, the way it works is you've got Paul. It seems to be a mixture of modern day Paul interviews that he's done with Morgan Neville and archival interviews. You can tell because quite a lot of the film, it's Paul's younger voice. You can hear him telling the story, which is nice to hear. Because younger Paul doesn't ramble on about the Beatles all the time, but I'll come on to all that in a minute. But there's other people, the Hall of Wings is interviewed in here as well. So the members who are still alive, these are new interviews. The ones who are no longer here, so Linda, Denny Lane, Henry, I don't think Jimmy McCulloch features actually, because he'll have been too young. But those three, they are heavily featured still. You wouldn't have thought that they weren't alive listening to this anymore because it feels like they're just part of it and they've taken part. So yeah, sounds good. But compared to the Wingspan documentary, which was kind of the only other major official Wings documentary we've had, the rest of the band features in here. They didn't feature in Wingspan, which, you know, I don't know why they didn't feature now, but this really does benefit this one, and to me this is better than Wingspan. And you get to hear people that you don't really ever get to hear speak. I mean, I was sat in the cinema, I say I'm a hardcore fan as I say this, I don't think I've ever heard Dennis Seibel's speaking voice before. I'm hearing him speak and I'm like, oh, is that what you sound like? Because he's always either been like the drummer in the background or just a picture, or if it is like a quote from him, it's just been words on a page in a book or something. So to hear him speak, I know he gets involved in Beatles conventions in America and stuff, but I'm not American, so I've never been to these conventions, so I haven't heard him speak. Mick Jagger also features in this, which is quite interesting because, he's the only sort of major non-Beatle related person who's in this, who's doing new interviews. I think Chrissy Hind as well is also the other one. But he only says two things. At the start of the film, where he's on about how Paul, he wanted to get away from the Beatles and, you know, live a domesticated life, a normal life, fixing the roof and stuff. And then at the very end of the film, Mick appears again, where he makes a comment about the irony of this, that bands don't last forever and they come to a natural end. It says the man who's been in the same band since he was a teenager. But anyway, I don't really know why he was involved, because there was obviously that famous quote where Mick said it was about 1971, 72, where he said he didn't understand why his old ladies in the band. That's what he said. I thought he was going to talk about that. That never got brought up once. Well, it's kind of referenced actually, but it's not attributed to Mick Jagger, that quote, in this film. It's just sort of hinted at that someone said it. But yeah, it was the prime opportunity for Mick to sort of clear the record on that quote, but he didn't. The McCartney family features, the usual two, Mary and Heather, who contribute. Their contributions are well welcome, very well received. Yeah. But the bigger mission for me is Heather, the eldest daughter. She never really gets involved in things publicly, but it's a shame with this because her input and her insights should probably have been the most insightful of all the McCartney kids, because she is the only one of an age where she can remember the entire Wings period. With Mary and Stella, they can only really probably remember properly, probably from about the middle bit, so maybe 75 onwards. In Mary's case, maybe Stella a little bit later on, but Heather can probably remember it from the very beginning, probably even the breakup of the Beatles. She'll be old enough to remember all that. So it's a shame she wasn't involved, but yeah, you can understand why she probably wouldn't want to get involved in it as well. I mean, who would want to be in that kind of spotlight? Anyway, the stuff that's interesting for us hardcore fans, there is a lot, and I mean a lot of footage in this that I have never seen before. A lot of it seems to be stuff like from the McCartney their personal home archive that they filmed themselves. So some of the cool stuff in here that I've never seen before. There is a point towards the end of the film where, interestingly, they're talking about Back to the Egg, but this is a London Town song. You have Paul recording the vocals for Morse Moose and the Grey Goose. I have never seen this footage before, and he's proper going for it at the microphone. It's fantastic. There's also a home recording of Paul at the piano playing All of You. That is also fantastic to see. It's not great quality. There's a few things like this, actually. This is the only one we get where we get to see the full performance, but there's a few bits of footage in this film where you get to see Paul at home just playing to himself on the guitar or the piano. It's cool stuff to see. I spoke to my good friend Ross Goodall after the film, because he'd been to see it as well, and he mentioned this, which never clicked with me at the time, but yes, he's right. Arrow through me from the concert for Campachi, however you say it, the last Wings concert. Speaking of that concert, the quote from the book where Paul says it's the worst gig he's ever done, you hear him actually say it in this documentary, so yeah, he's definitely doubling down on this being the worst gig he's ever done. But you get the footage of him playing Arrow Through Me from this gig, and I don't think that footage has ever been released. Or Ross pointed that out to me, and I think he's right. I don't think it has ever been released. I've never seen Arrow Through Me from this concert anyway. I've maybe heard the audio on a bootleg, but the actual footage, I don't think it's ever been released. So there's something new for us. Beatley Tone, if you're watching this, I know you were at that gig, so obviously you got to see Arrow Through Me with your own eyes, but for the rest of us, we can now finally see this footage. There's a bit at the end of the film as well where Paul, Linda and Denny, it's a home recording this one as well, singing You Are My Sunshine, and it's fantastic. It's a perfect ending to the film. It's it keeps cutting away to like how do you describe it, footage from the entire Wings era, so it's sort of recapping everything, that's what I mean to say. And it's a shame. I'll come on to the soundtrack that's going to be coming out next week to go with this. But this You Are My Sunshine performance is not included on it. A lot of the stuff that is interesting in this film is not included on this soundtrack. Come on to all that again a bit in the video. But it's a really nice, it's one of my highlights of the whole thing. I just thought it's really nice. And they sing it, you know, the way they harmonise together, it's just fantastic. Speaking of audio as well, there was a lot of audio in this that I have never heard before. So particularly around the Ram period, there's outtakes that have never been released. There's an early take of Heart of the Country where Paul is trying to figure out how it's going. At first, I thought it was the performance from the James Paul McCartney. They were just using the James Paul McCartney TV special. I thought they were just going to be using the audio from that, but it's definitely not. It sounds like it's a studio outtake. And then we get to hear Paul and Linda rehearsing and trying to work out how the harmonies go for Long Haired Lady, which is fantastic. It makes you think, why can't we have this stuff all properly released on like a Ram box set? I know even like the archive editions, we don't get outtakes and stuff like that, like, or early takes. We just get a remaster, B-sides, live recordings and stuff, but we don't really get studio outtakes like this. We've never really had that from MPL. There's also some studio outtakes you can hear from the Speed of Sound sessions. Audio, there is stuff like the Mulligan Tire demo featured as well, but I've heard that before. But I suppose that's never been officially released, so that's quite cool to hear in an official capacity. Now, the film, it does cover the Wings period pretty thoroughly, but not entirely, because at the end of the day, this is an hour and a half film. I think about an hour and a half, it does naturally miss stuff out. So some of the big things that are missed out, it does not really make any reference at all to wildlife, Red Rose Speedway, Venus and Mars, and London Town. You kind of see like the artwork and stuff come up on the screen, but it doesn't bring them up at all. Especially wildlife and Red Rose Speedway. I mean, it's quite interesting because it kind of does that thing that Paul sometimes likes to imply, that Ram is a Wings album. It doesn't say that, but it kind of implies that a little bit here. But then it sort of implies that Wings were a 5-piece from the get-go. And yeah, it doesn't make any reference to wildlife or give Island Back to the Irish, like the first things that Wings did. It kind of, the earliest thing that it will properly reference is Mary Had a Little Lamb, and even then it kind of slags it off, which, yeah, it's quite a strange thing to see, Wings, like, official MPL documentary where you are slagging stuff off. There's also nothing relating to the Nashville trip in '74, which I was surprised about. I didn't expect a lot about it, but even like a little bit of reference to Junior's Farm would have been expected, considering it's one of those songs that Paul always does live now, and yet he hasn't referenced it at all here. As well, when it comes to the other Wings members leaving the band, Denny Sywell and Henry, it's kind of actually somewhat properly references why they left. Well, with Denny anyway, because he's talking about money and the finances. And Paul openly admits that he never crossed his mind. At the time, he was thinking, well, if you want more money, write a song. If I can do it, you can do it, kind of thing. Which is a bit of a dickish thing to say, but there we go. At least he's being honest. Joe English as well, we get the usual story, he was homesick. But Jimmy is the interesting one, because if you didn't know the story of Wings and you were watching this film, it leads you to believe that Jimmy didn't leave the band. He died of an overdose while he was still in the band. That's kind of what this... It's obviously not supposed to be implying that, but it's how it comes across. It doesn't say he left the band, which is bizarre. But it's not going to tell you the real story why he left when he smashed up Paul's guest house up in Scotland. But anyway. And another thing I was surprised about was Band on the Run. I thought that this film would spend quite a bit of time talking about Lagos, but it kind of just glosses over it, really. It's like we went to Lagos, the studio wasn't finished, we got mugged, and even the mugging story is an edited down version of it. It's it misses the thing about where Paul says the usual thing of, oh, no, I don't want to lift, mate, it's all right. All of that bit's all left out. It's literally just, I came out, dived out the car with a knife, and Linda's screaming, he's a musician, and all of that. Demo tapes got nicked and all of that, but we know that story is over-dramatised. It's not as bad as it's made out to be. They'd actually already finished recording the album when this happened, but never mind. Anyway, as I mentioned in the vloggy bit, we didn't actually have a drinking game, but it was a little joke about the idea that Paul likes to mention the Beatles a lot, especially if you read the Wings book. Like everything he says, it's the same with the lyrics book, he has to somehow link back to the Beatles, and I was worried that in this film he was going to keep doing that. He'd be like, yeah, I wrote a song like silly love songs, and it's linking it back to the Beatles. It's like She Loves You. I'm making that up, obviously. But it's like She Loves You and blah, blah, blah. And when you're writing She Loves You, yeah, and your dad's like, oh, no, say yes. I thought, we're going to get all this, and he's going to link all this in somehow. He doesn't do it at all. Any reference to the Beatles in this is actually, it works narratively. It makes sense to the story it's trying to tell. It doesn't feel like Paul trying to shoehorn it in and make everything reference back to it, which is good. I appreciate that. I think it's largely because it felt like it used more archival Paul interviews, because it sounded more like his young speaking voice throughout most of this film compared to older Paul. So I was pleased it wasn't as Beatle heavy as I went in expecting. I got the impression as well from this that Paul sees the peak of Wings as that Wings Over the World tour and then the Mull Kintyre single. So I suppose the Mull Kintyre single will be the absolute top of the hill. And then after that in the film, it's not just Paul as well, Denny Lane kind of does it as well. It comes a bit more downbeat, like, oh, I can't be arsed with this anymore, I've had enough. What else have I got on my notes here? Yes, the soundtrack album coming out next Friday. This feels like a missed opportunity to me, because there's stuff in here, like I say, like early takes of Heart of the Country, a run through of a rehearsal of Long Haired Lady. None of that stuff's included. It's just the same old same, just the finished versions of songs. And there's 2.5 interesting things. There's the rock show version of Live and Let Die, which, I'll be honest, I'm not interested in that. I've heard it enough. There's the, what do you call it? Hang on, I've got it up here. I can't see, there we go. I've Got to Sing, Got to Dance, that's the name of it, from the James Paul McCartney TV special. That audio has never been released before, so that's somewhat interesting, I suppose. And the other thing that is probably the most interesting thing to most of us is a rough mix of Arrow Through Me. Now, everything on this soundtrack album, including the Silly Love Songs demo, is what featured in the film. So I'm going to assume when Arrow Through Me came up in the film, I'm going to assume that was the rough mix. And it was really disappointing because I was expecting it to sound a little bit different, but if I didn't know that was the rough mix, I would just assume it was Arrow Through Me. I could not tell you anything different about it at all, so that was a bit disappointing. But again, it feels like a missed opportunity. They could have put some really interesting stuff that's in this film on this soundtrack album to go with it. Especially when we had the Wings compilation album not that long ago. I don't see why they're now doing a soundtrack album. Anyway, so that's sort of the film. It's genuinely a really good film. I'll come back to that in a sec. But in the cinema at the end, it then had an interview between modern day Paul and director Morgan Neville, which was actually really good. Anyway, it's a really interesting thing because firstly, Robbie the Robot from the Wings 79 tour, he's there. It's the first time Paul's seen him since then, and Paul's controlling him, and he's like an excited child just playing around with this robot. He just wants to play around with it all. He's not interested in the rest of the stuff there. But then he also has a look at the 12-string acoustic guitar that he played on the Wings Over the World tour. There's some of his clothes. He tries on his suit jacket from the 72 European tour, which is really cool. And then, interestingly, he sits at the piano and he plays 1985 and he plays Maybe I'm Amazed. He doesn't sing, interestingly. As soon as the vocals begin, it cuts away from modern Paul and goes back to 70s Paul singing it. But Paul says something which I'm going to paraphrase here what he said, but Morgan Neville effectively says when they're doing Maybe I'm Amazed, it's hard to sing that one without rehearsing, without warming your voice up. And Paul pretty much, he doesn't say it exactly like this, but he kind of says and implies, even when I've warmed my voice up, I still can't sing it. That's the first time I've ever heard Paul admit that he struggles to sing these days compared to how he used to. It's the first time I've ever heard him really admit that. So anyway, the interview was exclusive to the cinemas. I'll be honest, you're not really missing all that much. It's interesting seeing Robbie the Robot and Paul trying his jacket on, but for the most part, there's nothing really here that you haven't already heard elsewhere. You're not missing much, I should say. Anyway, overall, I would give this film probably 7 or 8 out of 10, I would say. When it comes to Prime next week, if you didn't see it in the cinema, watch it. You will enjoy it. It is genuinely really good. I'll be watching it again because I really did enjoy it. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all I've got to say. I'll be honest, I went into this, I have said in previous videos that I wasn't massively looking forward to this because there was an implication from, it got an early screening last year at some film festival, and the critics at that film festival were sort of downbeat about it, and I should learn no better than to listen to critics, but it kind of put me a bit downbeat about it having read them reviews, and I wish, I'm kind of pleased it did because it didn't blow my mind, but it really impressed me, this film, how good it was. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Man on the Run, really good. Give it a watch. If you're a casual fan, you will love it. If you're a hardcore fan, there is stuff in here that will even interest you. This video's gone on long enough now, so I think I will end it here. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do like the video, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this film. Did you enjoy it? If not, let me know why. I'd be intrigued to know how you wouldn't enjoy this, to be honest, because it's really good stuff. Anyway, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you very soon on a future video. But for now, goodbye.